This year, I've spent some time wondering what the saints who have gone on before would think of this year. In some cases, I think I know the answers. My paternal grandmother, who I called Nana, would have been horrified by all of it. She was always scared of getting sick anyway, and she was a major extrovert, and isolation would have been her personal hell. My maternal grandmother, who I called Grandma, would have just been so worried about essential workers and those who are struggling without enough resources. I fear that my grandfathers, both veterans, would have been horrified by the way that the United States failed to lead during this pandemic. Especially in the spring, when we knew even less, and isolation was itself new. The echoes of my grandparents' lives felt close at hand. Perhaps it was the isolation itself that helped. They felt as close as anyone else could get, and memories had become extra important. Paul in 1 Thessalonians says, "You remember our labor and toil, brothers and sisters. We worked night and day so that we might not burden any of you while we proclaim to you the gospel of God. You are our witnesses, and God also, how pure, upright, and blameless our conduct was towards you, believers." Now, it's probably helpful to remember that the toil was literally labor for money so that Paul didn't have to ask others for support. However, the standard of pure, upright, and blameless still feels really high. I loved my grandparents, and I loved many of the saints who we celebrate today, but none were perfect. I actually prefer the insults leveled in Matthew. The scribes and Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. Therefore, do whatever they teach you and follow it, but do not do as they do, because they do not practice what they teach. So their actions were bad, but their teachings were good. Well, clearly the intention was to undercut them. Personally, it feels like a more doable standard. However, it really was pointing out the hypocrisy in Jewish leadership in Jesus' day, and I really say Jewish leadership because it was appointed by Rome. So I guess I don't get to drop the standard. Despite how it sounds in Paul, I don't think we're called to be perfect. Even John Wesley, well known in Christian circles for believing that people could reach perfection during their lifetimes, John Wesley defined perfection as speaking and acting out of God's love for everyone. But he acknowledged that one could err in assumptions or expression of love and still be perfect. But most of us, me included, definitely still don't meet that standard. Nor do our saints. I knew many of them. I loved them. I was inspired by them. But neither love nor inspiration require perfection. I do think that love and inspiration do best when they are met with authenticity. I'm always struck at the incongruity between the human desire to fit in and the fact that when I meet with people's loved ones to prepare their celebration of life, what it is that people love and miss are the things that make the person unique. It is the ways that we don't fit into the norm that people love about us. Although humility can be nice too, as both Paul and Jesus point out. As we come into this week of even higher anxiety and deeper unknowing than we have had yet in 2020, I hope those saints who have been walking with us all year can help us again. They have been through unknowing, and they've come out the other side. They have walked with us in love throughout our lives, and their love stays with us today. Whatever comes next, God is with us. And those people who have been expressions of God's love in our lives remain our sources of strength. It has been a very hard year. And it isn't over yet. But we do not walk alone. Amen.